Okay, I think diversity and inclusivity can be advanced in education institutions by a few ways. Okay, number one, at school level, we need to actually incorporate in our curriculum the values. You see the values of empathy, all right, and humanitarian values towards persons with disabilities and other disadvantaged groups. That's number one. Number two, we need to have a strategic plan, right? Strategic plan towards disability inclusion, both at the school level as well as at the university level, where we identify the needs, okay, and we do gap analysis, and we have targeted dates of completion, right? And thirdly, we also need to have a mindset transformation program, okay, where we need to create awareness and as well as empathy among the school community as well as the university community, so that the school children and the university students with disabilities, they feel at ease and they feel welcome and they don't feel discriminated or sidelined in the university or in schools, and they're able to participate in all activities at the same time. One of the major barriers is lack of legislative infrastructure and lack of enforcement, right? For instance, we have Akta Orang Kurang Upaya, the Malaysian Persons with Disabilities Act in 2008, right? It is there, however, it does not have the punitive component in the Akta, right? In the Act. So I think we need to add that in the revision of the Act so that it has more teeth, right? Okay, one of the biggest important elements would be funding, of course. So that is actually one of the major stumbling block in upgrading the facilities, because this costs money, and of course we do not expect it to be done overnight. And this is where we actually require support from the government as well as perhaps from private companies, institutions, organizations to come and lend a hand for this cause, to improve the facilities at schools in order for our students with disabilities to be able to properly get their education, and they can actually manage themselves easily at schools, right? Because otherwise it's very difficult for them to function, let alone being able to study comfortably. Yeah. And without these facilities, it's very difficult for them to also be involved in activities like sports, and other activities in schools, which actually serves to actually develop students' self-confidence, leadership skills, and so on. And this is where the students with disabilities are very disadvantaged, okay, if they are not allowed to participate in these activities because of lack of infrastructure. Yeah, so that is a little bit unfair for them. Okay, and secondly, it would be the lack of monitoring. We need to have actually a monitoring mechanism in place, right? And this can be in the form of a specialized unit, okay, especially when talk about at the Ministry of Higher Education. We actually need that particular unit to coordinate the implementation of disability inclusion initiatives, right? Right from the training of lecturers, of the officers managing the students with disabilities, and the various accommodations, right? Reasonable accommodations that we actually need to provide for the different types of disabilities, right? So every type of disabilities will have different needs, right? And especially for those with hidden disabilities, a lot more knowledge is required, okay, in order for the officers and the academic staff to support them in a more comprehensive manner. Okay, I think what persons with disabilities need is actually very simple. Okay, is all we need is your heart. So if we can open our hearts, okay, to welcome and accept people with disabilities as part of the society, as equal members of the society, the rest is just common sense in terms of how do we accommodate the needs, right? And this requires the help from everybody in the society, right from the Prime Minister, the ministers, the policymakers, okay, the implementers, okay, parents, family members, relatives, okay, community members, friends, acquaintances, downright to the casual acquaintances. Everybody has a role to play, right? Everybody has a role to actually open up our hearts and do what we can to welcome our friends with disabilities as equal members of the society so that they can do everything that the non-disabled can do, right? Which will actually be the pinnacle of inclusivity in our country, right? And this is where we can get true inclusivity in the true sense of the word and the real word of independence, because it is something that we do as a human being to accept others as equal as we are.